good evening. This is Susan, Susan's Tarot Sessions with Suze. So I'm going to clear the energy so we can get into the Divine Masculine's Tarot reading this evening. It's been a bit of a day, but I do want to do this. It makes me feel so good to do a reading. After the reading, I just feel really good. So let's get started. So I'm going to do some Tibetan bells. It helps me clear my energy. I just did a lot of meditation, probably about a half an hour, so that helps too, if you can tell or not. The energy that comes in the back of the neck is kind of like the life force energy, I would say, where we carry the energy of other people and the strain of our own energy in the world. And then also just the throat chakra, what we spend listening to through the ears and what we do with our words most of the day, right? It's very important to clear the chakras. And for the reading as the reader. Okay, one more. And then I'd like to say a prayer today to Tara. Tara is the bestower of blessings, merciful mother of beings, emerging within all experiences. Empower our eyes to see your beauty and open our hearts to receive your compassion. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. Okay, so let's get into our reading today. I'm going to hopefully add a little bit more than I did with the Divine Feminine energies. I feel a specific message that came through to me today is that with men especially not having, they're kind of at a disadvantage in a way. Let me explain. Whereas women have tried to really pursue education and pursue skills training and pursue a life path goal outside of the home, outside of raising children, they've been socialized and nurtured to be, socialized and nurtured to be nurturing, or supposedly nurturing. And men, on the other hand, have been trained not to be. So, just as women have had to really struggle to move forward in this way with career and ambition and raising a family or not raising a family or doing both or not having a career, men have tried to learn how to have emotional intelligence. And I'm sure they always have had. It's just that maybe in my mind, socially, they don't feel to me as experienced in that realm, just like women are really struggling to feel more experienced and just empowered, like in their own power with it. So the message I had anyway was that it seemed, the message I had before I started the tarot reading today in my meditation was really that not to like feel sorry for the masculine or have sympathy, in that way where you feel sorry for somebody. That's not a loving gesture, really. I don't feel like I'm trying to say that per se, but I'm trying to say some people need a lot of extra emotional intelligence in the way of learning or teaching or growing or becoming or empowering or however you want to say it. So I just feel like the masculine needs to hear some emotional information that would just be helpful. Like, it's important just to share. I think when women share how they feel with a man, I think it empowers him to trust, to open up and share with her. So in that way, women set the precedence for the relationship. And I think a woman will only open up and talk to her divine masculine, to her male side, if she trusts. And so that trust has to be earned. And so the male has to want to get to know her and want to be near her and want to show that he's interested. And if that's not happening, then, she might not be open to sharing. So then there's not a lot of safety there. Anyway, so I'm going to lay down some cards today. And I'm going to lay them all out and then I'm going to read them because I found that was probably the easiest way to do it for myself. And I'm just going to see if it needs to go into a little bit longer than usual, then we will do that. Okay. I'm getting some cards that I had in yesterday. And yesterday, was it yesterday? Doesn't feel like it was yesterday, actually. Thursday? Man, I've been skipping some days. Okay, I'm sorry. I think today is Sunday and I did that reading on Thursday. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. So far, so good. For some reason, there's some of you who are really sad. And I'm definitely feeling your sadness today. Wow. Pain. Okay. This is going to be a challenge for me. I have a feeling that speaking about these messages is we're in for a ride. Okay. Cool. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. So I'm just going to clear out like the emotional energy right now and bring in the masculine. Okay. I'd like to show you these cards because they're so cool. Cards are cool. I like them. All right, here we go, guys. So this is the past. This is the present. This will be the future. Prediction reading. And then I'm going to do sort of like the female, maybe even the male, and sort of like the outcome together. I think that's how I'm going to read it. Okay. Okay. Man, whoever's sad, man, I'm really feeling you. That's weird. Okay. So I think, I don't mean to sound condescending because I don't really know for sure, like I can't interpret all men's feelings, that. I can only say like basic stuff. Sorry, I'm going to have to unplug this. Not working. Okay. So, I can't speak for all men, of course. I can only speak for that one individual that I'm feeling right now. Is feeling sad. But what I do know is that men or women are supposed to hold up a facade or a strong container or a mask psychologically, and so that we hold back so many emotions all day, every day in our faces. Can you just imagine like, just holding it all in? It's maddening. So if we had a society we were able to really let our emotions out, it would be totally better. Okay, so I'm going to read them in a line. So the Seven of Pentacles, so the divine masculine, of course, feels comfortable working hard, and working where that's the day-to-day thing, is that he's working and creating wealth for himself and prosperity, and this has been a good path for him. It doesn't feel worrisome to me at all. It's like he's growing a lot of wisdom and strength and honor and ability. Like, that's a learning curve. So somebody has been working really hard for a long time to get to a place of prosperity. And at the next card, it's kind of like people sit back and look at everything they've created. But for now, the person's just really in their groove, or they were really in their groove here recently. And that's a very beautiful card to have, if that's what you're up to right now. So that's good. The Five of Cups. So behind the woman, there's two cups that she can't see. And in the forefront, she's looking at the spilled cups. So in the recent past, the masculine maybe might feel about his divine feminine that he's made some mistakes, that he made some really big mistakes, and he is not certain or not sure because he doesn't know what the spilling of these cups or this destruction in the relationship has meant, either to the female side of himself, the disappointment, like the anger at himself. He's just looking at that, and maybe what he's done in some way. But he can't see the two that's still there. He can't see the Two of Cups that's still blooming there for him. Not blooming, but sitting there with the blooms in it. The flower. He can't really see the love that's still there, because focusing on the love that's not there, or the perceived loss, the perceived losses, right? So when he's able to see that he still has two cups with a lot of flowers, growing there for him, roses, love, still present, like he's probably lost a lot of love somewhere in the immediate, like maybe he's lost somebody he really cared about or really loved, or lost faith in love itself, but doesn't realize there's two cups remaining full of love for him there. If he could just turn everything around. Okay. So in the recent past, we have the card of Strength, the card of Leo, and the infinity symbol means like somebody's connected to somebody else, in a path where it's like perhaps a long-term spiritual, like infinity. Like, so, but strength, having the strength of Leo sometimes is like not exactly a very loving feeling. Like if you have strength, you've got to pull that up out of you, and sometimes it goes at a cost to us to pull this deep strength out of us sometimes. And if I think Leos get a bad rap because they are often considered to be egotistical and selfish, but Leo is the most loving, giving of all the signs. Like they really put other people first to a detriment. So in the recent past, I'm going to say having a lot of strength, needing to get through with strength is a noble quality. But at the same time, putting a lot of people before you can be very hard on us. And we have an infinity to work on this balance between the mind and the heart, and being able to love ourselves and love another. So the strength isn't being vulnerable, and being strong really about being connected to spirit, because I think a lot of people misunderstand Leo. Leo is really about giving light. It's an illuminary sign, so it's about showing others and lighting the way, sometimes like the sun, for life. And so Leo just likes to give, and in the giving, they receive. And many people don't even realize that Leo's giving, right? Because it's so natural, it seems so normal. But sometimes they just want to be like appreciated, you know? And that's number 8. So getting close to completion of something in the past, some sort of, if you were looking at the divine masculine's relationship to his strength and what he has left from whatever he lost, and that he's building something with his work, maybe it takes a lot of strength to keep to these 2 of Cups, because if we're looking at work and money, what he's lost, like he's trying to find some stability with his strength, with his finances, to continue rather than look at all the losses. Okay, so in the present, the 4 of Cups is, you know, do you see that skull, kind of the life or death feeling of this card? Like it feels more like, if this is a little bit of a caveat of a warning, okay? On the one hand, the 4 means someone's kind of holding on to what they have. They're kind of wrapped up in it to the extent that it's difficult to share, because having these 4 pentacles, you know, it kind of means like, on the one hand, it means like trying to balance out your spirit and your body and your left and right sides of your brain. Like if you think about 4 directions, you think about like trying to hold on to what you have, where you are, what you've accumulated, and not give away too much of your energy. So it's like a balance, right? So it's like holding on, but the caveat, the warning is that sometimes we have to give in order to receive. If we have a little bit extra, so you might think about that. How can you give a little bit more in terms of like the physical or the mental or the spiritual, or maybe like the emotional, in a balanced way? So you're not clinging and you're not like offering, you know, too much like Leo might do. Feel resentful. This is interesting. So I'm kind of tripping out on this card. I've never seen this before in this deck. The 9 of Swords. So it's interesting because I'm pretty sure this is Saturn, and I'm wondering if this is like trying to be Pluto here. Pluto, Saturn. Okay, well Saturn is, if this is Saturn, and I apologize because it could be Pluto, but Saturn is the task master, right? Is the karmic planet with all the rings, and Saturn is a really good planet to keep us like engaged and working at our goals. Saturn is like Capricorn ruled. And I want to say Aquarius too, actually. And Aquarius is a fixed sign. So it's kind of like when you fix yourself into, okay, so obviously this person's bound and tied and tired, really tired of the patterns, whatever they are. The patterns are so tiring. It's almost like before the completion of the 10 is when you get stabbed all over your aura and your body and your emotions and your physical and your mental, and everything is just like done. So it's kind of like at a resting place where you're almost really done. Like he just needs to like cut himself free, like take some of those swords, cut himself free. So something's really trapping him to this feeling of being tied to Saturn, of working, working. And so he's working really hard. Gosh, his fingers have symbols on them. Yeah, so he's got Virgo, Gemini, Libra, and Taurus on his fingers. And then on the other one, he's got Cancer, Leo, Aquarius. Oh my god. I'm sorry. These are the astrological symbols, so I'm just trying to check that out. Anyways, dude's got a heavy fucking like journey on his fingertips. He's got them all the signs. Sagittarius. Holy moly. Okay. Anyway, that looks, you can just tell that looks pretty bleak in the present. So what I'm going to interpret from this is like something that he's been working on has actually really trapped him for some reason, and it's exhausting, and now he's not ready to do much with it except for to see how painful that it is right now for him. The Three of Pentacles, look at these guys, can be a good thing. I mean, it can be a good thing. I mean, even if you're exhausted, sometimes that's a good day, right? If you're learning how to balance stuff and you're learning how to not get exhausted. So this is actually an interesting card in the present, because Three of Pentacles is this is like in the city, but in sort of like the part of the city where you would go to have a connection with people to make a plan, like a goal, like a financial plan. So you would go to meet in a group or a set of 3 different people to make a financial plan of some sort of like business contract or business deal. And it kind of, for me, has a vibe of a spiritual place in the community. So what I'm trying to say is, if there has been the 4 after or right alongside this 3 with the 7, it's kind of like looking at the way that we're using money and spending money and working with money to be in community with others and work with others. And it could just be looking at 3 different people's energy, like maybe you're involved with a few different people. And so community is important, especially if you're looking at involving yourself with another person or a few other people in a job situation, and then you get to the point where you're like, is this working or not? There's a lot of this isn't working for me. So, I mean, in the present, there's just a lot of contemplation around the way that this person is working. And that makes a lot of sense, because we're using the masculine energy right now to like try to send a message. I mean, if we're going to send a message to the feminine that you're working really hard at a relationship, or not working very hard, or maybe you're stuck in that relationship, you feel like you worked really hard for something and you're stuck right now. You're not knowing how to give and take energy in the relationship. Like if it's a female relationship we're talking about. I mean, I'm interpreting this as work because it's pentacles, but the emotional work could just be really exhausting for some reason, which is why the next card is really important for the future. But I mean, for the very near future is the Hermit. So, you know, the thing about the Hermit being alone is that connecting to our own divine true nature, our own inner being, that we can tap into universal Shiva Shakti consciousness. To tap into that just really sets the tone, and like the whole energy is shifted. So this is going to solve the problems for you. Like, okay, there's being alone, but there's being alone and listening for the answers that you need to set you free, to open you up. So that cannot be stated enough. Before going into your day or after your day, trying to do that. And that might be also a place you can connect to your spirit and to your divine female counterpart, your masculine feminine parts, where you won't have to work as hard. You know, maybe sometimes it's like when we feel mad at ourselves, the divine feminine feels it too, but she's like mad at herself. And it's really like, maybe it's, you know, you don't know who it is. So sometimes it's like that separation into light, because you don't know why we're always mad at ourselves for doing something or not doing something. So the meditation is like clearing out sadness, anger, frustration, painful emotions, feeling stuck, feeling hurt, I think, in this relationship, trying to like figure out all of the different people that he's working with, it feels like, and trying to get on a good page with just maybe like a few people, maybe even people he works with, maybe needing some time alone often to recenter, you know, himself. So the Ace of Swords is a new journey. A new journey is a new beginning. The Ace of Swords is like it keeps powerfully coming back for him. in the future of cutting away things that don't work. But it's like the initial reaction of it, the initial feeling is very powerful. It's almost like tuning into spirit, and spirit cutting the ties or the cords, or cutting through the intellectual reasoning that you need. So it's like God helping, it's like spirit helping you every time to cut through, to be intellectual enough to cut through what you need to do in your day-to-day. And that is a good feeling to have spirit on your side. And so when you're meditating, so he's got his brain on and his crown on, and that's the connection to God, to spirit. So when you're meditating, coming into connection with your God, and like having faith in your intellect and in God, that he'll help you make wise decisions. And then the Chariot is moving forward with his passions, moving forward in his chariot, and he has 2 horses. Sometimes they're going 2 different directions. One's black, one's white. They both want to go 2 different directions. So his job is to really figure out like those phases of the moon, if you're waxing and waning, and are you going away from your castle or coming back? And what are you coming back with? And what are you leaving with? I mean, he has like these decisions to make to get his horses to go in one direction. So I'll tell you what I see in just one minute, because I'm starting to see something different. So in the future of the female side, she has, I think I'm going to interpret this card a little differently than I did for the Divine Feminine, but it's coming up again, so that's a positive sign. So for her, it's something similar. It's kind of like looking at the passion of the 2 of the relationship, of looking at 2 people in a different way, like looking at it in a much broader sense than she's ever thought about it before. Like kind of seeing like if the world was about her first, if the world was about her energy and her needs, and then maybe that would help her rather than focus on other people. So you see, in a way, she's redoing her idea about relationship and how she's relating to other people. So she's really doing a good inner work on what she feels like is most helpful for her in relationships. So that could be to other people or to herself. And I really see this Lily as peace and this one as love, and finding a way to balance this energy in her own world and in the world outside. So, and then I've got the Knight of Wands. I got my nails did. Guys. Oh my god, guys. I apologize again. Okay. I'm still learning. This job. This is not a job. This is for fun. This makes me feel good. Okay. I just can't use my nails. So, again, this is the female future side of what's going on with her. Is it the Page? It's the Knight. Okay, sorry, it's the Knight of Wands. So the Page is a little more like, tries to act like he's part of the aristocracy or whatever, aristocrats, whatever you want to say. He tries to look pompous and kind of rich and like he's going to fit in, but it's really sort of like he's not yet gotten his wands about him right. So this is a knight, so it's a little bit more, not forceful, I don't want to say forceful, but knights are a little more pushy. They're not quite like, I'm here looking around for like validation. Knights are more like, I'm here, like I'm really here. And so I think the feminine is like, I'm here with all my passion and all my glory and all my love offer. Like if you were to say my love offer is present, like it feels to me like anytime you have a knight or a king or a queen, they're coming into emotional maturity with themselves. So he's not a page. This woman is a knight. So she's a knight, and she is pretty eager to represent her feelings and her passions, and pretty eager to say, here I am. She's coming forward. She's trying to be like, I'm here. You know, she's trying to show you that she's here. That's her deal. Especially in her heart. Like, the way I'm seeing it when I read the top, that's like the mind. And when I read the middle, that's like the heart. And when I read the bottom, that's like the physical passion. So it's like an order thing. So I was going to share that with you guys. Anyway, the physical realm of the woman for you, the divine feminine, is she's trying to rest. She's using a lot of her intuition. She's trying to balance her female, male, her own sides of herself, her divine male energy, female energy in herself. And she's trying to find the gray area so that she doesn't act either. She's trying to balance that out, right? And come from a very wise place. She's usually not doing a lot of action because she's sort of like esoteric and in her own space and doing her own spiritual things. So that's where she's at right now. Again, it's the 2. So you've got a 2 and a 2. You know, so I think she's really thinking a lot about relationships. And that's really interesting. Okay, sorry. For the masculine side, he has the Page of Cups. So the page, like I was talking about earlier, is not quite the knight. Like the knight's kind of like fast and shows up, and it's kind of like boom, and they're there, you know. And the page is kind of like working their way in. So the page sometimes is kind of like in love with the idea of love. It's like flowing. It's like in the field. It's like love is in the air. So the page is kind of offering, but they're offering from a very innocent place still. Like they need to work a little bit on from going from a page to a knight. I hope that makes sense. It's not that there's anything wrong with being a page. It's like a new emotional journey though, right? It's like trying to, there's a lot of innocence and beauty in it. I mean, this